From the headquarters of Green and Gold Football, this is Green Bay Nation with Wesley Spoon and John Kuhn. Green Bay Nation is presented by Quick Trip.
Hello and welcome to Green Bay Nation. I'm Leslie Spoon. Joining us today is Packers fullback John Kuhn. You know, Mike McCarthy tells us it normally takes about 4 games for a team to gel and form their identity. So what's the identity of Team 94?
We're 2-2 right now. We've had some ups, we've had some downs. Coming off our last game, we know what type of offense we can play. We know that the defense can create turnovers. It's a good sign going into Game 5.
All right, we'll take a look back at the big win in the Windy City later in the show. But first, let's take a look at your next opponent, Minnesota. The Vikings are 2-2 with a Week 1 win against St. Louis and a Week 4 victory over Atlanta. Minnesota either wins big or they lose big, with losses to New England and New Orleans. Here's a look at their team leaders. Veteran quarterback Matt Castle started the first 3 games, but broke his foot early in the second quarter against the Saints. So began the Teddy Bridgewater era. The rookie threw for over 300 yards in his first start against the Falcons before leaving late in the fourth with an ankle injury. Matt Asiata leads the ground attack in Adrian Peterson's absence, and former Packer Greg Jennings leads the receiving corps with 15 receptions for 204 yards and 1 score. Not quite the stats he could be recording in Green Bay. Of course, Adrian Peterson suspended mid-September after being indicted on 1 charge of child abuse. More accusations have surfaced since then. What are your thoughts on how the NFL has handled this and the recent domestic abuse cases?
Boy, this was a really tough situation, and I think the NFL is slowly starting to build itself back. What we're really trying to do now is emphasize what type of players we do have in the league throughout. The majority of our players, they're doing great things in the community. They're really trying to make positive impacts.
Right. Now, Peterson placed on the exempt commissioner's permission list, still getting paid. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's another one of those situations where Minnesota made their decision and they're going to stick with it. I believe every person deserves their due process and their chance to plead their case. So I'm sure the right situation will work itself out in the end.
As you mentioned, a shootout in Chicago. Both offenses dueled it out in the first half, and then the Packers took over in the second. Aaron Rodgers was nearly perfect, 22 of 28 for 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, quarterback rating of over 150. Both Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson had a pair of touchdowns and over 100 yards receiving. So for Quick Trips Face the Nation fans, this is how you can impact the show via social media. Submit your questions to us through Quick Trips Facebook and Twitter pages. We may just read your question on the show. Our first question comes from Mitch in Brookfield, who asks, do you like the short week?
I actually do. You know, especially for a home game, it almost gives us a little bit of an advantage because they have to fly here. They get bothered with the travel and whatnot. And for us, let's just play another game. Let's just get back out there and get after it again.
All right. Ryan from Nina is next. He says it looks like the players were having trouble with the field in Chicago. Is the field in bad shape?
Chicago has a really unique field. They use it for a lot of high school games, some college games. So the field, yes, is very torn up. The middle of the field is like a mud runway strip, and then the outsides they try and resod constantly, but they don't have any roots, so they're slippery as all get out. And it's just, it's a tough field to really get your footing on.
Even so early in the season. I mean, you expect that in November.
Well, in November it's even worse, but at least we got it at the beginning of the year this year.
Talk just a little bit about the weather. Sean Slocum before the game was like, I just put on sunscreen.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time I did that at a Chicago Packers game.
It was the best weather I've ever had in Chicago, playing there for 8 years, and normally it's 10 degrees, 20 degrees, freezing and windy, and this time it was beautiful. You could have, you know, laid out.
Beautiful all around. Next up, Sam from Jefferson asks, which rivalry means more to you? Green Bay versus Chicago or Green Bay versus Minnesota?
I'm going to have to go a tie. I mean, both teams have been very good both teams have played us very tough since I've been here, and you never know what you're going to get. Division games are always physical, they're always tough, they always come down to the wire.
All right, Michelle from Sun Prairie wants to know, what's the locker room like after a win compared to after a loss?
Well, in a win, it's kind of guys jumping around, having a good time, towel snapping, and just being characters, just being guys. After a loss, you know, we're reflecting, we're down, we're a little beside ourselves, but you know, that's just the mood in the locker room immediately after the game. Both paths kind of take the same trend afterwards, as you got to level out and you got to get ready for the next game.
All right, finally, Jake from Milwaukee weighs in, and he says the Raiders fired their coach this week, of course, referring to Dennis Allen. He wants to know what you think about coaches getting fired during the season.
Boy, that's a tough spot. I can only imagine myself being on a team where my head coach gets fired. I'm kind of wondering about the direction of the team. I want to know where our leadership is going to come from, who's exactly going to take hold of this team, and in what direction we're going.
Poor James Jones in the middle of that one.
But he's still making plays. One-handed
making
grabs,
plays,
diving
absolutely.
catches. He's playing really well.
All right, it's time for our Facebook poll. We wanted to know which quarterback do the fans think will give Green Bay the biggest threat before the team's Week 9 bye? Teddy Bridgewater, Ryan Tannehill, Cam Newton, or Drew Brees? How do you think they voted?
I really can't imagine this would go in any direction but Drew Brees, but let's see what they say.
Absolutely. Here, let's take a look at the results. Despite a rough start to the season, 62% of fans think Brees will give you the most trouble. Normally plays great against the Pack. Cam Newton takes second with 30%, so right on there.
I think this is very accurate. I mean, Drew's going to get us in his home, in the Dome, so that's where he plays extremely well. Cam Newton's going to play us here, so we have a little bit of the Lambeau advantage. But out of those 4 quarterbacks, I would expect them all to play well. But
right.
Drew Brees is definitely the one to watch out for.
So by the book, you got to respect everybody, right?
Exactly.
Time for our Packer selfie of the week. Latin Chief 2 Jr. shared this photo of his Packer shrine. It's pretty sweet. Looks like he's been to the Packer Pro Shop a time or two.
But aren't you supposed to be in the selfie? Where's he at?
Exactly. Hey, send us another one.
This is just a picture.
Maybe that's it. Oh, it looks like Aaron Rodgers there in the corner, little doll. All right, fans, send us your tailgate selfie through Facebook or Twitter, and you can vote on our weekly poll. Send in your quick trip Face the Nation questions. We'd love your input. Let's pause for a water break, but we'll be right back with this week's Viral Spiral. John and I will take a look at some of the best sports videos on the web. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back. It's time for Viral Spiral. Let's start on the baseball field. Nationals' Jordan Zimmerman, a no-hitter last Sunday, just 1 out to go, and the ball's driven out to left center. September call-up Steven Souza with the amazing catch to save the no-no.
I can't think of any better way to take some momentum into a postseason but to finish the year with a no-hitter at home with a diving grab.
No kidding. Zimmerman's a Wisconsin native. When asked after the game what he would buy Souza to thank him, he said, anything he wants.
You better be careful with that one. He might think of something pretty good like a car,
no
a watch. They can get pretty pricey.
Well, I think it's worth it. Bow season is underway in Wisconsin, but it's no sport if the deer's tied up. Check out this deer stuck in a hammock in Marinette. Sheriff's office comes to the rescue.
Okay.
Cutting the deer loose here. First of all, I would not be anywhere near this. And as he's cutting him loose, he's like, oh, this is about the size I killed last year.
Yeah, that's a bummer, but at least you said it right. At least nobody did get hurt. He got stuck in that hammock. He could have hurt himself. He could have hurt anybody around the house. That's a scary situation.
Only in Wisconsin. Switching gears to football, Detroit Lions tight end Joseph Fourier sprained his ankle chasing his 3-month-old Pomeranian Husky mix, Little Rufio. He was potty training the dog, said he was trying to get him from going to the bathroom inside when he tripped. While bracing for the fall, Fourier put his 265-pound frame on his left foot, spraining his ankle.
You know what? I know what it's like to potty train a dog. It's not easy, but I'm not saying it's ankle sprain worthy.
Oh,
I mean, you got to figure something. You're a professional athlete here, and that little Pomeranian, he's probably only 12 pounds. You got to whip him into shape, get him potty trained.
What's up with the Lions? Last year, Nate Burleson broke his arm trying to stop the pizza box. And, of course, he joked about the incident on Twitter, saying, please no death threats to Little Rufio. He's just a pup.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they have it tough. I mean, at least they play tough on the field.
Exactly.
I mean,
All right, let's check in on the high school ranks in South Dakota. The extra point, it's a low snap, results in a line drive. We'll see it again here. It actually bounces off the helmet of the opposing player and off the crossbar. I mean, too bad it's only worth 1 point.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, what a great catch by the camera guy. I tell you what, that's a really incredible thing. I don't think the kicker could have done that if he tried it.
Exactly. Pretty embarrassing for the other guy, though.
Yeah, all he had to do was stick his hands up. He probably would have blocked it.
Yeah,
he tried to stick his hands up. He was scared of it.
Way to use your head for the wrong team. All right, to the CFL for some trash talking. This BC Lions linebacker about to be interviewed at halftime. He's on live television. He's got some words in before he took time for the reporter. Check it out.
Hey, who are you? What'd you say? Hey, get some. Keep running. The agent's on your side. Just tackle. We don't know who you are. Keep walking. We don't know who you are. What's up?
To the locker room, and they got into a trash talking.
All right, The reporter was stunned, didn't even try to interrupt him. He's like, I'm not getting in the middle of that.
That's fantastic. Reminds me of some great interviews of all time. But in that case, I'll tell you what, the cameras are never off. You got to always assume the cameras are on. Don't get caught.
Especially these days, you can't eat a hot dog on the sideline. You can't do anything.
It's tough being athletes nowadays.
In college football, the Ohio State strength coach isn't playing around here. A fan jumps on the field and he lays him out. Can we get a trainer over here to administer the concussion protocol? Of course, he's a Buckeye linebacker, by the way. A.J. Hawk would be proud.
That is a
Former linebacker.
That is a heck of a tackle right there. You took him down. You saw it, physicality, held him down. Your guy goes down, you stay down. That's a rule we preach at the Packers, and good job for him.
All those injuries the Buckeyes have had, maybe he still has some eligibility left. It's time now for our Coon Carry of the Week. Let's hit the middle school gridiron for a pretty clever trick play. The center hands the ball to the quarterback over his shoulder. He pretends like he's discussing something, and
Look at him, see?
7 points. Count it.
The carries of the week this year have been priceless. They have been tremendous trick plays where the defense is just caught off guard and stunned. This is phenomenal. This reminds me of when you hide the baseball behind your back.
Exactly.
And you tag the guy out at second base. Perfectly done. Well job, coach.
It's so cute when it's kids, too. All right, and John, of course, you've really embraced this community. You started hosting an annual summer football camp here in Green Bay. Here's a look at last July's camp. 160 kids, grades 1st through 8th. Tell us a little bit about it.
It was just a great time to get out there with these kids. 2 half days of football, and they were just having a blast, learning some tools to the trade, and really taking what we taught them and playing some great games towards the end.
And, of course, when you're in 1st grade, probably the best part is snack time. What kind of snacks did you guys have?
Oh, we had some pizza, we had some chips, yeah, we had some Gatorade. I mean, we didn't get too serious with the food regimen.
And that's a nice field, West of Pier, right? Nice.
Yes,
there.
West of Pier, very nice place. They had a great coaching staff there available, so fantastic time for the kids. I know they loved it.
Awesome. All right, guys, we have to take one more break, but when we return, we'll talk keys to the game. Stay tuned. You're watching Green Bay Nation.